it's Paul from Alexander Knife Sharpener with a quick Tormek tip again. So if you have to do a Tanto blade, which they can be very challenging to put in a jig, I've shown this in a video before. The way to do it is to treat this horizontal plane and try and get it as even with this horizontal on your jig as possible. So it's not going to be in the jig in a normal configuration. It's going to be on a total angle. Now, why can this still be a problem? Well, this knife is a perfect example of it. If it's a folder, it's no big deal. You put it in, and what you run into quite often, as you will see with this auto knife that ejects out the center, is the handle can get in the way. So what I like to do with this, if it's a auto knife out the center, I release it, slide the handle forward, and a lot of times that'll give you enough room to then sharpen this blade. And this is where the older Tormek style jig comes in handy with its adjustable end here. Now the newer one, which is right here, is not as good for this because you can't adjust the length of this jig. But the older jig works really great for this because it gives you that room to make a few adjustments to help get that handle out of the way to clear this so that you can then sharpen this knife. And that's my tip there for how to put a Tanto blade into a jig, especially if it's a auto knife or ejecting out the center and the handle is getting in the way. And as I showed earlier, with a folder you do the same thing, but you just fold the handle so that it is then partially out of the way. And I usually just support the handle with my fingers so that it's not falling down and hitting the stone. But that's my tip for how to do that and how to deal with the little issues that you run into there with some of these auto knives, which are very popular, and people come to me a lot to get these sharpened because a lot of people have a hard time sharpening these. And you'll find that this method works really great for giving you a beautiful grind. I treat it very much like I would a chisel and use as much of the stone as possible, even going a little bit off the end. And then I check to see how that looks. And that looks really good. I need to go a little bit deeper, right where the two blade angles meet. Let me show you. Hopefully you guys can see that. Can you see that? But beautiful grind right across there. And that's the way to do this. That's the easy way to get this done. Now I'm going to do the other side. So this is a lot more like grinding chisels than it would be grinding necessarily a knife blade. Yeah, that looks great. Make that a little bit more. Just want to make sure I'm flat on that stone. And just going back and forth, using the whole stone. And that tip's probably done. That's nice and sharp already. Let me just wipe it on my apron here. Let's see if I can show you guys that. So can you see that? Hopefully you guys can see that edge and how nice that looks. So now I'm going to move on to doing the straight part of the blade. And if you're concerned at all about having to come back to it, you can put a little marks on there. I'm pretty happy with how that looks, and I'm pretty happy with its level of sharpness. What I'm going to do here now is I will undo this, and same thing, horizontal connections. Now a lot of times sometimes there's lines like on this knife that you might be able to use as a guide, and so this upper line here looks very similar to the blade, and I'm going to use that as my horizontal line. We just want to make sure we're in here good and tight because we don't want this to move at all. Alright, so now I'm going to go about it again the same way. I'm not worried about any particular angle per se. I'm just going to match the existing edge angle on this. And now I don't have to worry about the handle at all. I just have to worry about these serrations here at the end. I don't want to hit the serrations. And this is going to be too steep of an angle now for the side, so it's going to have to be a lot lower. So you will have to probably readjust your angle because it won't be close to what the tip angle is. Yeah, it's pretty close already. Almost right on. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that where I'm at, so I'm locking this in. And I'll show you that again. So now I'm going to do the longest horizontal portion and just blend that all in together with the rest of the knife. Now this time I'm not using the full length of the stone. I'm going from the very edge where the first serration is and then into just where the 2 points meet. And what I'm seeing here is I need to grind a little bit more closer to the serration. It looks good from here to the point, but the rear needs a little bit more work on it. So I'm actually just focusing on that rear part right now. There we go. That looks good. Now I'm just going to get some more just nice evening strokes and check for a burr before I flip it and go to the other side. And I have a burr, so that's good. So now I'm going to go to the other side. Same thing, I'm going to that serration. I'm working forward to where my 2 knife angles meet up. It's looking pretty good. It's not quite there yet. Need some more grinding. There's a little fat again in the back part. I can feel it. But yeah, it feels good. And then any appearance-wise, you can kind of get it to look real nice together when you do your honing. We'll polish all of that out. It's all going to kind of mirror polish it anyway, so you don't have to worry too much about your grind lines because you're going to it's going to mirror this. And that, I can tell already, that feels nice and sharp. So here's the finished knife. And if you guys enjoyed that, once again, this is Paul Seymour. I'm one of the hosts over at the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, the Tormek users group. And I invite you to come check out the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. It's a great professional organization for anyone involved in the sharpening business or starting out in the sharpening business. We do lots of training for new sharpeners as well as experienced sharpeners. For example, just this week, I had a person come into my shop with a machete that she was using to cut coconuts with. We just so happen to have a member who's in Hawaii and has sharpened pretty much everything you can imagine, including coconut machetes. Not something I thought I would see here in Alexandria, Virginia, but when it showed up, I didn't want to turn my customer away, and because of members of the guild, I was able to get the proper sharpening angle for a coconut cutting machete, which is different than a machete that's used for other things, right away for a customer that was arriving in 5 minutes. So even if you know a lot about sharpening, there's lots of great information and lots of great networking going on at the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. I will include a link in the description of this video for anyone wishing to check out the guild, and we do give a free trial period, so you are welcome to come in, check out some of the learning, and if it's not for you, that's fine. You can elect not to go forward with your membership, but if it is, and if you think it's something worthwhile for you, we invite you to join in on all the fun that we're having at the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. And Matt Rowell, who runs the group, is constantly bringing in great guests, and we also have several discounts for our members from many providers of sharpening equipment and gear. So I encourage you to check out the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. Have a great day, everyone.